So guys, how best can older pastors prepare younger pastors for the hardships of ministry?
Well, for me, I really believe that in an age where the church is becoming more and more specialized, it's important to raise up pastors who are holistic and experience the full range of pastoral ministry. I think there's a tendency for older guys just to look for younger guys to do the video ministry, to do the music ministry, to do the children's ministry, and where it might be. But I think for older pastors to allow younger guys to experience multifaceted ministry, to invite them into spaces. And so at our church, we had an internship program for young guys, and they would spend, so it's a 1-year internship, but they would spend 3 months with 4 different pastors, experiencing pastoral care and missions, worship and teaching, leadership and shepherding. And so we really wanted to walk through our younger pastors through the full orb of ministry. And I think that's really valuable in preparing younger guys, because if you're a specialist at one church and then you're in a season of transition, maybe, you won't be ready to move into the next ministry opportunity, the next ministry phase.
For you, Mike, does that look like giving them specialized seasons, so they try this and then they try this, or doing a lot at once? I guess for you, what's your perspective on that?
So even for our associate pastors, even if they have specific job descriptions, I want them to experience like holistic ministry. So we'll have different assistant pastors come into our leadership board meetings. Maybe they'll clerk for a year just to take notes, but be part of that experience. We'll take different pastors and interns with me on visitations and hospital visits, give them teaching opportunities. And so I want that to be just a continual culture of full-orbed ministry. And I think that's important.
How about you, Steve?
It's good stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think for me, one thing that comes to mind, so many young pastors, they're talking about mentorship. That's a big buzzword, right? I want mentorship. But I feel like a lot of what us younger pastors mean when we say mentorship is just take care of me, like love me, give me attention, ask me how I'm doing. And I think that's good. There's absolutely a place for that. But I think it's unknowingly kind of teaching us the default mode, that when things get tough, when things get difficult, I just need someone to affirm me. I just need someone to hear me out. And that is important, but I wonder if maybe in the long run, we can set up younger pastors for better success. And so what if instead of just mere like life-on-life mentorship, what if we did on-the-job mentorship? So for example, let's say an older pastor is going to go somewhere and speak. What if you took a younger pastor with him, and they could just talk on the way? The pastor preaches the sermon. On the way back, the pastor can debrief the sermon. Hey, how do you think that went? And so now he's synthesizing not just life, but hey, how do you think the sermon went? He's giving him coaching. He's getting feedback. And then that becomes a template now where they can say, hey, like, how's your preaching doing? How do you think you're doing? Hey, brother, how's life? And so what happens is now you're teaching them different default modes. When things get tough, they don't just remember the relationship only, but they also remember like, hey, you know what, I'm stuck in this jam. I remember this one time the pastor said X, Y, and Z. I remember we went to this one event and this pastor said something, and you can kind of hang on to that training when things get tough. So not just mere relational mentorship, but on-the-job mentorship.
Sure, and both of you guys are kind of alluding to something I think is important, which is the way you can't prepare somebody for something that's hard by telling them that it's going to be hard. Right. I remember people told me, you have parenting is hard. Well, you don't know how hard it is until you're actually in it. But I think what's important is that as you guys are establishing those relationships before it gets hard, that when the times do get tough, that you're in their life. And so maybe the preparation is just building those relationships and giving those opportunities just so that we're doing ministry and life together. And I think another thing we can do to help prepare them better for the hardships is to be healthy ourselves, right? I mean, I look at, if when the going gets tough, if they see all of us wounded, bitter, jaded, I mean, they're going to see that as their future. Yeah. But if they see us not weathered, but seasoned by difficulty, then they're going to say, hey, there's hope for me. That's something I can look forward to because this is going to produce that. And so, I think that's good stuff.
Alex, we had a conversation about, older leaders and younger leaders a while back, and we just talked about the distinction between like freedom and coaching, and how like an older generation, maybe a Gen X, they just wanted freedom. They just want to say, trust me with this ministry. Let me run with it. Let me run this retreat or this event, according to my vision and my leadership. And so they really didn't want to be micromanaged. They really didn't want oversight. They wanted freedom and trust. But you made the observation about millennials are different. Millennials don't want freedom. They want coaching. They want coaching. And is that something that you've worked on and developed in your ministry? But I totally agree. And I think that's exciting that millennials are open to coaching, but also tough for older leaders who they're like, I didn't get coached and I had to figure it out. So it's maybe a new muscle for senior leaders.
I think the one thing is in the past, I gave staff freedom, but I didn't take responsibility for them. And I think you're right. It's not about giving them freedom per se, because they don't feel like they don't have that freedom. I think for older leaders, it's not just giving them freedom and say, hey, figure it out. It's taking responsibility for them.